We be fussing, we be screaming, but you the one I wanna lay beside this evening. I'm gon' come back, even when I'm leaving. You give good love, and I receive it. When you feeling down, I'ma sing to you. That ring on your finger got a ring to it. That's that real love, God-fearing love. It may not be how we dreamed it, but it's still love. Can we ever sit down? Talk to me nice, I'ma talk back, baby. You know how we get down. Yeah, the way we gon' work it out.
I am Pastor Julius, and this is my lovely wife.
We got action.
What up, y'all?
Hey, remember when who was it? R. Kelly and Jay-Z was like, "We got room keys" on Best of Both Worlds.
Who?
R. Kelly and Jay-Z. Oh, I'm not allowed to say. Sorry. Jay-Z had a collaboration album with the young man.
Y'all, let's make marriage great again.
Best of both worlds. Oh. I don't care what nobody say. Yes, that was it. They used to rock on that John. Okay.
What up, y'all? We here, man.
Dang it, Robert.
We here. And we ready. You ready?
Yeah, I think today is going to be, in my Ice Cube voice, a good day.
Yeah.
You been all right?
I've been doing well. It's been a lot going on. I'm tired.
You got a lot. You got a lot going on. A lot of accomplishments and stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, God is good, man.
Yeah, super proud of you.
I appreciate that.
I told somebody this morning. I said that honestly, you are the hardest working person I know.
I try to do what
Like
I can do.
in real. So now you know that position or title used to belong to none other than Wayman Malone Jr., who is my spiritual father.
He's a monster.
And I'd never seen anybody. He would dare Negroes to outwork him.
He's a monster. He's a legend in my mind.
And I don't know. I'm watching you, and you are that. No, there's nobody that is working as hard as you. Like you're reading 6 to 12 books. I feel like 12 books a month, easy. Writing papers and about to graduate with your master's in theology, pursuing your doctorate, just.
I appreciate that, babe.
Graduating from academies and preaching every Sunday.
I appreciate that.
It's crazy.
I want to be top quality for those who encounter me, your boy. But anyways, this ain't about me, y'all. It's about y'all. Like, we trying to get y'all, squared away when it comes to these marriages and these relationships and all that good stuff.
Honey, yeah. Trying to get y'all squared away. What does that even mean?
Squared away?
Like folded and put up?
Yeah, tightened up, buttoned up.
Okay. It's an old school term.
It is. It's an old school term.
Let me get you squared away.
Get you squared away. Everything in its proper place.
You say that often.
Yeah, I like it. I like that term. It speaks to me.
The other day when you told me to stop saying, the reason why it got on my nerves so bad, my old mentor, Milton Cohen, super filthy rich Jewish guy from New York. On one of my job, when you work,
evaluations.
I had an evaluation, and he said, "You speak really well, but you use too many filler words." Mm-hmm. And I said, "What's a filler word?" He said, "Like and Mm-hmm. And so when you said it the other day, if y'all have never tried this, try it, to explain yourself or have a conversation and think about every single word you're going to say. I'm going to try it in this podcast. We're going to see how it's going to work.
Well, that's the reason why I said that, is because I knew that whatever he said to you back then had a pretty big impact on you.
Oh, is that why you said it?
So I figured one of the best things for me to do is to just come alongside of what you had already agreed with before. So that it would leave you with no argument.
You get on my nerves.
So that it would leave you with no argument.
All right.
Listen, y'all, the best thing to do is to get agreement first before you move forward. Just get agreement, There was already agreement there. You'd already agreed that like and is not good words to continuously use within conversation. So I figured I might as well just go on ahead and come alongside.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to attempt to not say like and
I'm going to do that as well.
In this episode.
I'm going to do that as well.
Moving forward, it makes you think about every word that comes out of your mouth.
And also, not only using those 2 words as filler words,
Using other words.
but challenging your brain to expand your vocabulary and using other words within your conversation.
This is good for you cussers. People who cuss a lot.
That was real judgmental, that right there, that whole.
Well, I used to cuss.
It's good for you cussers. You cussers.
You cussers. I had read one time that is why people use foul language is
They don't have
because
any other
their
words to
brain
express themselves.
Cannot go grab another word. Correct?
Well, so I don't agree with that 100%.
No, because sometimes I like to use it for
Yeah,
emphasis.
like sometimes you just want to just use it because you're upset.
Yeah.
I'm intelligent enough to think of another word, but I don't want to use another word.
I want to
wanna
use
cuss.
this
I
one.
want to cuss right now.
I want to fold my lip up
Yeah.
to say it like
Yeah, I want to cuss. Don't try to say I'm not intelligent because I'm cussing.
true.
I want to just cuss right now.
It makes me feel better when I
No,
go ahead
just
and
get
release
it out. But anyways, y'all,
What are we talking about today?
I really don't know. I had asked you to kind of lead us into this before we came on, and then you just turned around and, did that like that. And so I don't really know
My
what to
bad.
say.
My bad. Oh God. Today I really want to discuss what happens when you marry someone and then after being married and having children, you realize that your spouse is not a parent.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah, it might have to be 2 parts of this, y'all.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait. That was a whole lot to even try to consider in what you just said. Let me repeat this back just
Okay.
to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes, sir.
You said
I did.
that we're getting ready to talk about a spouse
Yep.
who you've had children with,
Yes.
and then after the children are born,
Yes, sir.
you realize that said spouse is not a parent.
Yes, sir.
Stop.
I think it happens more often than we think. I believe, honestly, that you have people who should not be parents
Should not be parents
and are not parents.
or aren't parents.
Well, they aren't parents, and so then they should not be.
So you're saying they should not have brought children into the world.
Correct. Correct.
So y'all, hold up. So one of my favorite sayings is, a problem undefined
it's undefeated.
is undefeated. And so I want to take a little bit of time as I kick it over to you.
Okay.
And I want to find out what the definition of parent is, because
Okay. Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
that's tremendously important
Yeah.
to say that a person is not a parent, even though they have children.
And so from the scientific, biological, like, okay, here's a great example. We all have biological parents, correct?
Yes,
Meaning that we came out of the sac and the egg.
there's a combination of sac and egg.
There it is.
Yes.
That is how we have biological parents. That's where we get our genes, genetics, eye color, height, whatever. We get all of those things from our biological parents. You have some people, though, who are biological parents who give their children up for adoption, and they are raised by other people who are better fit, better suited to parent them. It's kind of like people come to hear you preach, and then you have people who you are their pastor.
Okay, so
Two different things. Just because I come in here you preach, you're just a good preacher. But you pastoring me looks completely different than you just preaching to me.
100%. That's a tremendous example that
So
you gave.
in my mind, when it comes to parents, because I think about all the childhood trauma, I think about all of the things that people go through. What's a filler word? That's one.
It's all right.
That have children. Maybe they should have never had kids. Maybe they don't have you have some women, I've had conversations with women who say, I don't have a motherly instinct.
Just basically what you're saying is in some instances, not all instances, the vagina or the penis was better than their ability to parent.
All right.
And so
There we go.
basically they like They like penis,
All right.
but don't like being parents. Right?
If you like one P, but you don't like the other.
They like penis, but don't like being parents. And so that's a phenomenon.
Well, you can switch it.
Or
Now, we
they
can't
like-
say the other P.
Yeah.
Don't say the other P. It's
Yeah.
still a PG-13 show.
That's become a
But you
phenomenon.
like the other P, but you don't want to be a parent.
That's become a phenomenon in our society.
No, it has been.
Over the course of time. But just.
But in this case, though, what if you are? So I think that we do have that in the case of baby mom, baby dad. But
Yeah.
what do you do if you are married, right? Man of your dreams, woman of your dreams come along and y'all are married and then she gets pregnant, y'all get pregnant, and this baby comes and she looks at you like, hey.
I don't want to do
I
this.
don't want-
I'm going to allow you to basically do the rearing. I'm gonna go off over here. And
Or
I'm
maybe
gonna
not
allow
even
you to do
say
the rearing.
anything. Maybe that's just her action. Just every time I look up, you got the kids.
Well, that's what she's saying, because actions speak louder than words.
Wow.
And so that's what she's saying,
So what
even
were you
though
gonna
she
say?
might not have articulated it with words. But the definition of parent is, I hopped on Google, y'all. It is a father or mother. That's the noun, parent.
Yeah.
The verb portion of parent means be or act as a parent to a child,
And what does that mean?
right? And then a little bit further down, it says, what is the full meaning of parent?
Right.
And it is one that begets or brings forth offspring, a person who brings up and cares for. Who brings up
And cares
and
for.
cares for.
So what do you do? We are fully married. We decide to have some children. We get pregnant. And here come little Billy. And I decide
that I don't want to bring him up
I don't
and
want-
care for him.
Yeah, I would rather
So
jet set or whatever.
in I think what we would probably refer to as deadbeat dad terminology
Or deadbeat mom. Yeah.
terminology is they were either sperm donors or egg donors.
But we're talking about
They weren't
we're-
parents.
But we're married. I'm talking about beyond that. You're talking about people who are married.
That's a glorified egg donor. That's a glorified sperm donor. If you're married and you're refusing to participate in the rearing of the child,
Maybe maybe postpartum is real. Maybe you have someone who maybe he wanted kids because he didn't have any kids and he was getting older. So you had a baby because that's what your husband wanted, but you didn't really want the baby.
that don't matter. You brought the child into the world. So therefore, the child didn't ask to be here.
You're saying it doesn't matter, but what I'm saying is you have married couples right now where one parent is holding it all together because the other parent has checked out.
Well, listen, I'm gonna just look right here. If you checked out
Check back
and
in.
you're married, you need to check back in because the children deserve to have both of their parents participating in the rearing of them. I get it. Sometimes
Whether you're married or not.
you go through seasons.
Yeah.
You go through seasons where you're up and you're down. Sometimes you're on a mountaintop, sometimes you're on a valley low. I get it. I understand the seasonal aspect of life. You're not always on your A game, if you will.
Yeah.
And so sometimes one parent might need to kind of take up the slack during that season of whatever the other person is going through. Right?
Absolutely.
But that don't mean that they don't want to be a parent or they're not a good parent. But I think what you're talking about is the person who just, period, point blank, is never in the game.
And what happens if midlife crises, I believe, are a real thing. I do. I believe that trying to find your purpose and identity in life, that is a real thing. What happens when, and I've heard people say this, man, I've been a parent long time.
Yeah.
So your identity is wrapped up in
Parenting.
Their kids go off to college and they're sitting there stuck because they have no clue what to do next because I've been a parent for 18, 20 years.
But that's not what we're talking about, though.
It's not, but I'm on the flip side of that coin, maybe I don't want my identity to be wrapped up in just being somebody's mom. Maybe it's too much for me. Maybe I wasn't done pursuing what I wanted to pursue. Maybe there was some Fortune 500 things I wanted to chase. And so here, you take them.
But listen, chasing some other things and allowing some other things to be a part of the definition of who you are and neglect are two totally different things.
Are they neglected though when they have a solid parent taking care of them?
Not by the parent that's taking care of them, no. But by the parent who decided to check out, yes.
I just think it's something that I've seen it, and I know that there are people who are going through that. And I hear what you say about seasons, but nobody knows how long a season lasts. I could be trying to, hey, I need to go find myself.
Well, this is what I believe.
What would you do? I come to you, hey, Julius, you know, I'm over 40 years old, and I would like to go pursue, you know, to climb Mount Everest.
Okay.
I'm not going to be around
For the next couple of months.
I need to do this for me.
Well, you're diving into something different. See,
it happens.
No. I understand those things happen, but for me, that's not a person who brought a child into the world who are making the decision to
Let me
not
tell you why
parent
it
their
is.
child.
Let me tell you why it is. Because you have parents right now who have children where chasing the bag is priority, and their kids are not priority. And something is falling on one person. Seasonal stuff is not what I'm talking about. You have men and women both who have had kids, and their kids were kind of like,
just kind of there.
I had them because it was the thing to do. You're supposed to have children, or my wife wanted kids, or my husband just wanted kids, but it really wasn't what I wanted to do.
Well, I think this is something to lift up out of this conversation then, since that's what we're talking about. I think we need to really lift up a person's, to the filler word, we need to lift up a person's ability or willingness or awareness of what social responsibility is.
When it comes to raising a kid.
When it comes to having children.
Having kids, yeah.
Because truth of the matter is there are some people who have children and don't understand that the way in which they decide to rear and raise their children is directly connected to their social responsibility. You have a social responsibility when it comes to raising children to make sure that our societies are healthy,
and
are
better.
thriving,
Yeah.
are better. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that when the penis is in the vagina. Ain't nobody thinking about being socially responsible, right?
Yeah.
And so then when the child comes into play and, you know, Paulie off the block and, you know, Uncle Paulie and whoever else brought a child into the world, they're not thinking about the fact that the way they're raising this child, they're being tremendously socially irresponsible in that moment.
Right, because now Paulie is no father in the home or no mother in the home, and he goes out and tries to figure it out on his own, and Paulie hit Paulina upside the head to grab her purse because he, you know, it domino affects society. And so you're correct. It's parents not realizing that, hey, you're not only responsible for this human life, you're also responsible for other human lives that this human life may impact. And so I'm saying this to say this: if you are married and you do not have kids yet, it's a conversation. Do I want them?
That's a conversation, but then even after you have the child, you need to come to the realization that part of your identity is wrapped up in how you're going to rear and raise that child.
Prior to that, though, I think a lot of marriages, I know people personally who they've had kids only because their spouse wanted kids.
Listen, if that is you, then I think you need to come to terms with, you know,
what you're saying yes to. You're not
what
just
you're
saying yes to,
to.
okay, let me go ahead because he wants a kid or she wants a kid. It's no, I am now also saying yes to being socially responsible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes to loving this child. I'm saying yes to making sure this child has everything they need. I'm saying yes to make sure this child is aware and understands the world in which they live. I'm saying yes to making sure this child understands who they are and what their identity is and where they descend from.
And I'm saying no to a lot of the things that I want.
And a yes oftentimes is a simultaneous no. And I think that's one of the things that
That's
a
it
lot
right
of people don't really understand and realize.
That's it right there.
That a yes is also a simultaneous no. And so
is.
what happens is people are trying to say yes to too much at the same time. But when you said yes to this, you were saying no to that. They
Man.
didn't think about that though.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things when it comes to rearing children, having children, when you
Yeah.
say yes to a child, you're simultaneously saying no
You are.
to a lot of the things that you were previously doing
Yes.
before that child entered into the equation.
And that's it. And I believe that is what I'm seeing play out in situations is lifing. I told somebody the other day, I said, our parents were people before they were our parents.
Sure.
They were people.
Sure.
They were people with issues. They were people with childhood trauma. They were people with their own toxic traits. They were people.
Sure.
Who happen to have kids.
Yeah.
It doesn't fix their issues coming into being a parent.
Yeah.
And I think that is, we're talking about marriage and the vitality of marriage. This is why it is so important for you to be marrying on purpose with intent, a purpose partner and an individual that checks out. Like we talking about boxes. These are serious conversations about children. Do you want them? How do you raise them? What do we do if I want to pursue my mixtape career at 42?
I think you're saying something here.
Okay.
You're saying something here. It just came to me, y'all. Identity oftentimes is progressive.
Okay.
And so what happens is in certain phases and areas of our lives, we're an incomplete version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so people will judge your incompleteness. And also, if we're not careful, we'll be judging our incompleteness.
Facts.
And so we'll be looking at an incomplete version of ourselves, getting depressed, getting down, because again, identity is progressive.
It is.
And so you're talking about, what happens if at 42, I want to go do this, or at this time in my life, I want to go do that. Listen, those things can all be a part of your identity. Maybe it's just not time to get to that portion of your identity yet. And I think when it comes to parenting, I think we need to understand that parenting is a part of your progressive identity.
And so do you just wait then until they turn 18 and go off to college before you start pursuing?
Not necessarily wait until they turn 18, because everyone's situation is relative. And so depending on the dynamic of the relationship between you and your spouse, you might be able to go start pursuing some things earlier than when Zion turns 18.
Yeah.
Or then when King turns 21.
Right.
Or, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think just really understanding and accepting the fact that parenting is part of my identity. It don't
good.
matter about how bad I want to do this or what aspiration I have or what goal I have. Those things can still be your aspirations and goals,
But
and
you're
all
saying
of that.
as far as trumping, parenting trumps
Oh,
everything else.
What?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Heck
Yeah.
yeah. And this is why. Think about it. Think about the dynamic between God and God's children. We're the apple of his eye.
Right.
He created all this other stuff, but nothing else is more important
Then us.
than his children.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same when you bring children into the world.
Yeah.
You got all of these other things that should be a part of us, and we should be able to identify with other things and have other things that we pursue and goals and things along those lines.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your children, they're the apple of your eye.
So what advice would you give a married couple that has been married, let's say been married 7-8 years, and one of the spouses is just dumping the kids on the other spouse because they just tapped out?
I would tell them exactly what I just told you. I would tell them that it's very unfair for them to disassociate themselves with the responsibilities of parenthood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in order to pursue whatever else they're trying to pursue. I would tell them that that's totally unfair. And that they brought the child here and the child deserves to have them.
Okay.
I mean, you know.
I mean, if the other, and then what do you do if the other parent is, I don't know, they're cool with it?
Again, it's a relational dynamic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a relational dynamic. Every relationship is relative. Every marriage is relative. There's no cookie cutter, one size fits all situation.
Yeah.
If it's working, who am I to then come in and tell them they need to stop? You know, that's unfair then on my end.
It might look like it's working on the surface, but it may not really be working.
Well, it could be perpetuating unhealthy perspective in the children.
Yeah, it could.
And so it might be working for the parents, but it's perpetuating an unhealthy perspective in the children because the children are seeing dad take care of them all the time.
And so, you're raising sons, and sons may grow. And again, though, is that what's right and wrong?
Well, some of what we believe and some of our perspectives are just social constructs.
Indeed.
You know, and so we need to really be able to decipher what's a social construct versus this is the way this needs to be.
Right. This is toxic. You're always gone. You're always leaving her or him with the kids. You're not around. You're spaced out. You know, I think that's more of what I'm talking about. And when you do, you just get into a union and you have a child and you find out my person is not a parent.
Well, y'all, I don't know where that subject came from. But I think the title of this one is going to be is do you like penis better than you like being a parent?
Okay.
So
here we go.
Listen, y'all. I hope this
we are not no, because that's only putting it on women. So really, do you like the pee more than you like to be a parent?
Okay. Yeah, we
can.
I don't want it to be a male against female thing.
No,
that's not what we're after here.
No,
you kind of. We're thinking and feeling that kind of way.
Well, if you say penis.
Okay. You're right.
Only men have penises.
But not only women like penis. That's a whole other conversation.
Wait, what?
Listen, y'all. So listen.
Oh
that's it for this one. We're going to transition out off that. And listen, go to YouTube.
Right now.
Subscribe.
Right
Make
now.
Marriage Great Again podcast on YouTube.
Right now.
Go to Facebook. Make Marriage Great Again podcast on Facebook. Go to Instagram. MMGA podcast on IG.
Right now.
Right now.
What'd you say?
Right now.
Okay.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.